Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for November 11th, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 316. I am MayorWatt, and along with the sentient AI from the future, we are going to walk you down Main Street, ohmtown.com, where you can become a citizen. And we're going to look to the left, look to the right. It might be different for your left and right. We're going to talk about a city treasurer spent city treasure on lottery, but I'm a citizen. Can't I spend that money? How about a human case of bird flu in Canada, or crowd control measures at the Trevi fountain? Wicked Barbie gets a new meaning. Clone sheep. Ubisoft gets sued for The Crew. Gopher experiment at Mount St. Helens. Yes, Mount St. Helens. That's how it's pronounced. Never words for doctors to avoid. Smart glasses for drivers, and Snail Species named after Tolkien characters. That and hopefully some humor. I mean, Non Sequitur News it's news with humor and completely disjointed production value. Let's get into it. All right. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, MayorWatt, and hello, hometown citizens.
Man. So, I found out today that I've been paying for a subscription to 12 iterations of the same digital magazine.
Oh my.
Because whenever it said that it wasn't going through,
Oh no, it kept adding one.
it kept adding one.
Oh my.
Yeah, that was an interesting discovery today. So, let's get into today's articles. For those of you who are new here, Non Sequitur News is it is the culmination of a news aggregation site that I put together, ohmtown.com. It used to be private, but 3 years ago I opened it up to the public. Now you can use it too. You can just go over there, sign up. It's just a couple of fields. I don't do any tracking. There isn't even any ads on the website. I want it to be fast and effective and efficient for me, my information overload. The sentient AI utilizes it for news aggregation as well. And countless others. I don't even know how many are on the site, but they use it to manage information overload. So you can too. And then once you're there, you can save articles, you can submit them, you can send them to people, you can make lists, you can have conversations, but most of the time people are just using it to manage their information overload, aggregating a bunch of news into one spot under topics. We have 50 topics. Kind of fun, kind of cool. I'm solving my problem. I hope that it solves yours too. So go over there, become a citizen. And if you want all of today's show notes and you're over at the Twitch chat, because YouTube does not like Omatron, you can hit !NSN and Omatron will spit the articles out into the chat. You can follow the links to ohmtown and then sign up. Anyway, let's get going. Sound good?
Sounds good.
So this this article just kind of blows my mind. But I'm a citizen too. I can spend city money on right. So a Pennsylvania city treasurer spent $1,500 a day on lottery.
That's a lot of lottery tickets.
Using taxpayers' dime. So a former city treasurer at Uniontown, Pennsylvania, has been convicted for embezzlement of $106,000 in public funds for support their $1,500 a day lottery habit. That this would fall into criminal addiction. Antoinette Hodge, 54, is separately accused of stealing an additional $112,000 from the Baptist Association that they are affiliated with, and is scheduled to face trial on forgery charges in that case next month. But
Wow, I guess she was going after every organization she had some connection to.
man, her main responsibility was to collect and deposit cash and checks received by the tax office. But between 2020 and 2021, she failed to deposit more than $106,000 in cash, using the money instead for personal expenses, including vacations, casino gambling, and her expensive lottery fixation. Yikes.
I wonder how they found this. Like, I wonder if they audited and went, hey, wait a second, we're kind of lacking this year.
What I don't get, though, is... Oh, wait. It never went into the accounts. So it would appear that all of the people who actually were paying taxes were not paying taxes.
Well, that's true. So maybe people started getting delinquency notices or something, because that's what I started to think. Like, well, somebody could be harmed. It'd be one thing if it was marked that they paid and then that didn't match up with something.
And that would be about the time frame, because maybe it started late 2020 and went all the way until 2021 and was caught in 2022, because it takes about 2 years actually to fully catch and audit, particularly in government. It's not like the very next quarter, but it should have been caught sooner.
Hey, look at this. She changed the system. Now they don't take cash anymore.
Oh, and that's even worse. Wow. Yeah. Pretty wild. So they say financial distress. Hodge will be sentenced on November 21st, be back in court, facing 33 counts of forgery, 3 counts of theft in the YWBA case. Wow. Well, the article is actually over at casino.org, and Philip Conneller is the author of this. There's always more. They have a picture. We don't even accept the pictures. I don't know how that's actually in ohmTown, because we don't allow the pictures to even be embedded. So I'm not even sure what's going on here. I need to go and look. It might be the way that their feed allows us to view their...
I think this particular source
is really
maximizes.
wonky.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. We have a very specific... There we go. Yeah.
That's right. That fits here.
All right. I got to put it away. Otherwise, I'll leave it there. And 3 articles later, the sentient AI will go, hey, that spoiler alert. Anyway. So yeah, pretty cool that casino.org stumbles across these kind of things. And I think it's because it specifically mentions casino in it. And so because they focus on things like table gaming and other things.
Right.
Online.
But we've had some pretty interesting stories from them.
Yeah. I like their news, and I like sending traffic their way. So go over there and become a fan of theirs as well. All right, let's keep going though. This next article is over in Non Sequitur News. That's where it's aggregated from, but it's actually from Newsweek. We'll get there here in a second. First human case of bird flu detected in Canada. Now, that title, is that the first human bird case?
I'm not sure. That's actually why it was submitted, but it may just be the first one in Canada. I can't remember if they've had one in the US.
I don't recall. So investigations are underway after a teenager from British Columbia, now receiving care in hospital, was infected via an unknown source. So were they kissing birds? So Tom Howarth over at Newsweek.com put the article together.
So the US had its first case in 2022 of a human.
Gotcha. Okay. So it says this is a rare event, says Dr. Bonnie Henry, a doctor with 2 first names. British Columbia's provincial health officer said in a statement, while it is the first detected case of H5 in a person in British Columbia or in Canada, there have been a small number of cases in the U.S. and elsewhere. The
article answered it for us.
Yeah, we just have to slow our roll. Woosah. 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 ASMR News. The initial positive test was performed at the British Columbia Centre for Disease Control, or Public Health Laboratory, with samples now being sent to the National Microbiology Laboratory in Winnipeg for confirmatory testing.
I like their abbreviation, BCCDC.
BCCDC. What I started laughing about was, you know that they're infected if they start clucking and pecking at the ground.
Right, absolutely. Or laying an egg.
If they lay an egg, or if they start acting like a real pecker, then you really know that they're infected. So the case comes amid unprecedented global spread of the H5N1 avian influenza virus since 2022 because, COVID isn't bad enough. You need another.
We gotta have multiple, exactly.
Yeah. So now that the COVID is endemic, it is here. It's just being managed through medication and treatment, and some people have resistance, but they're still spreaders. You think that you're immune, but you're not really immune. You become a carrier for it. So screw everybody else, right? Anyway, survival of the fittest, as it were. I've actually heard people say that, and you kind of go, what? Little sociopath.
Would you think the same if it was your family or yourself? Probably not.
Yeah, they're sociopaths. Nobody puts a lot of people don't put a bumper sticker on their car until the fit hits their shan, I suppose. Anyway, officials are monitoring the situation closely as influenza viruses can adapt and change when different strains mix. There's been no additional cases identified at the time, and public health teams are following up with any individual who may have been exposed. So stop kissing ducks. Keep your mouth off ducks.
Which you should be doing anyway, regardless of avian flu.
I don't know, man. CDC actually warned people in the States to stop kissing ducks and chickens. Quit kissing peckers. Anyway, crowd control measures to be introduced at the Trevi Fountain and Pompeii. The introduction of an entrance fee has been proposed at the Rome landmark. The article is over at the Art newspaper. Gareth Harris put the article together. The introduction of an entrance fee has been proposed at the Rome landmark. And that's because, over tourism.
Right. Too many people all at the same time.
Statement. But it's not. You know what? You said at the same time.
It is. Everybody's there in the same season, which makes it worse.
The fountain was emptied of water last month and cordoned off while the €300,000 conservation project is underway. Over the next few weeks, up to 130 people at a time will be able to stand for a few minutes on the walkway, which will remain set up until the restoration work is complete. The last major restoration work was done 10 years ago. Since then, grime, bacteria, calcium deposits, and weeds have accumulated at the historic site. And then the tourists leave and take their grime, bacteria, calcium deposits, and weeds with them.
Well, we would hope, but they don't. They leave them there.
Ooh, yeah. Leave it how you found it, folks. Anyway, maintenance work is going to be underway. And you know what? I don't like the idea of kind of gatekeeping access and stuff like that. But, if people lack respect and they treat it like it's their own backyard, or worse, actually, because it isn't their backyard, they don't give a shit, and they, stick their gum to the, fountain, then, we have to get brutal. But there's no accounting for respect. One person thinks that they're respectable and, they're horrible when they go out and it's not somebody else. It's not their stuff. They'd get pissed if somebody was damaging their car, but they have no problem carving their initials into the bench.
It's something historical.
Yeah. So Trevi, completed in 1762, is built on the rear facade of the Palazzo Poli and incorporates statues made of white Carrara marble, rich Corinthian leather. Sorry, that's a callback to way back.
Something else.
Yeah, entirely. So the fountain is considered a late Baroque, not Baroque, masterpiece, and has featured in a number of films, notably Federico Fellini's La Dolce Vita from 1960. Anyway, yeah, officials at Pompeii are saying they're going to do the same thing, limit daily visitors to the site down to 20,000 people, and also introduce personalized tickets with visitors' full names. The move comes after 36,000 people visited Pompeii on an admission-free day last month.
Well, I'm not surprised. Probably everybody went on that single day.
Standard Pompeii tickets are priced from €18. I've been to Pompeii a couple of times, and I was really young, and I don't remember a fee associated with it, but they're doing fabulous work there and discovering new things from time to time. So on with the pricing. That's fine. Let's keep going, though. Sounds good?
Sounds good, but it did say that it sounds like they're going to halt the throwing coins into the fountain, which I think is part of the appeal of the visit.
You know what? They should put a little bucket next to the fountain, and you can say, throw it into the bucket.
Well, they did.
Well, look at that.
Did you read that?
Nope. I skim over most of it. So this next article is going to be a doozy for anybody who might have fine sensibilities.
Yeah, we need a banner, but we don't have one. Yeah, there you go.
So Auntie M, wicked Barbie boxes send people to a hardcore porn site. Hey, look, we all know.
It's funny as to what the version of Barbie was that sent this.
Leather Barbie. So, look, we all know that apparently it says Barbie looks at porn. I don't know, man. That might be pushing it too far.
That's from the article, not us.
Yeah. So this is actually an article from Kotaku, but it says she's an adult woman. It's no big deal. Yeah, she's like 80 or something now, right? We're on the other side.
Right.
But maybe it's more of an issue that she starts leaving tabs open all over her merch sold to kids. Yeah, you got to draw the line somewhere. This is what happened on the boxes of two wicked movie tie-in Barbie dolls. They're selling for upwards of $2,100 on eBay. People actually got a hold of them.
That's all right.
The URL on the packaging for the movie's dolls isn't exactly suitable for children, but don't go to the URL. Don't let your kids go to the URL. But we're talking about it. So guess what?
Yeah, but we're not going to feature the URL in this story, but it might be visible.
I don't think it's visible. So John Walker put the article together. It's over at Kotaku.com. They did a really uncanny job of making this Barbie, wicked Barbie. These are the two wicked Barbies, right? This looks
right.
really close to the actor.
Yeah, they did.
That is uncanny close. Wow. Anyway, so it says maybe it's more of an issue when she starts leaving the tabs all open all over the place. So apparently, Elphaba, who is Cynthia Erivo, I think that's her. She pronounced her last name, but anyway, yeah, bad witch indeed. Wicked witch indeed. Apparently, it says, however, those who did read the fine print on the new dolls got quite a shock when they followed the URL listed for their products. The address on the boxes is, it is there.
Yeah, let's just skip past that.
Oh, should have been wickedmovie.com, but they did not go to wickedmovie.com.
But it was something else.
It was something else. I mean, and it doesn't really, come on, it's all over the place. So anyway, the site that they sent him to was an adult content site. Already been doing a roaring trade in mistaken traffic long before Barbie's goof. The musical has been an astonishing hit since 2003, sitting on Broadway and touring worldwide ever since. The movie itself will have added to that, with early word suggesting it's going to be a very good box office. But, oh god, I'm not going to say anything. Anyway, but Barbie pushed it to the mainstream with news sites jumping on the air. Mattel told Hollywood Reporter. So they've been pulling the boxes off of the shelves.
I'm sure, but they probably already sold some.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They're also gone from Amazon, although the UK version of the retailer still has listings, albeit with no option to buy. Those box dolls are going to be worth a fortune. If you bought one, for God's sake, don't let your kids get their hands on it. So, yeah. I saw other people saying over $2,000 for one of them. They sold for $20 to $40.
I mean, this is not the kind of buzz you want around your baby.
Yeah. Wicked. Oh, so there apparently there's word that they're trying to get the Barbenheimer phenomenon with Wicked and Gladiator 2. So
yeah, but it's something that I want to pair up with Wicked after this.
Wicked-ator, I don't know. Fun though. Anyway, go check out this article and you can get the URL yourself. We're going to move on. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Nice pom-poms. So reality hackers, where the next article is, the U.S. has a cloned sheep contraband problem after a Montana man, the Florida man of Montana, apparently, illegally cloned and bred an endangered giant sheep species. Government agencies must now contend with the illicit offspring. What?
This probably belongs in Reality Hacker.
So Matt Reynolds over at Wired.com put this article together. So one of the talks that I give is about technology and about how science and technology have not short-circuited, but basically supplanted natural selection, the natural order of things. And so I quiz people, hey, what is an area where technology cannot intrude? And I usually get a pretty broad gamut of stuff, but creating life is no longer limited to the natural order of things. You know, we can do in vitro fertilization, which actually takes two parts that are separate and distinct and nothing created from nothing, right? It's the two parts that merge to become one, right? But even if we do in vitro fertilization, maybe a person can't bring that merged entity to fruition. Well, now there are synthetic wombs, so you don't even need a person.
Well, the only good thing about that is it's not harming actual wildlife, but this is really ridiculous.
Well, in this, they actually used Montana Mountain King semen to impregnate ewes and then sold the offspring, each carrying some Marco Polo Argali genetics, to people involved in big game hunting. It says it's a weird case, but likely only the second time that an American has been prosecuted for a wildlife crime that involved animal cloning. In 2011, a man was fined $1.5 million in order to surrender smuggled deer, as well as nearly $1 million in deer semen. Can you imagine the actuarial table on that? Like, somebody had to sit there and figure out what that was worth and what the long-term value of it was. That's $1 million.
Yeah, that would have been a weird court case.
Jeepers creepers. So there's another strange element to the Schubarth story. Potentially dozens of MMK's descendants may now be at large in the U.S. These sheep that contain genetics from MMK are defined as contraband in the handful of plea agreements that were signed by men who were alleged to have bought sheep from Schubarth or transported ewes to his ranch in Montana to be impregnated. What isn't clear is how many sheep are at large and what exactly has happened to them. So we're going to have some bad bat or something. These are just giant sheep, though. So what really is the big deal, right?
Well, a couple of things.
Okay.
One, they're not native because there was some more history that you skipped over at the beginning
Mm-hmm,
intentionally.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But then also they're going to mix with wild populations like that. There's going to be some problems. But
So two
also
other,
they're not allowed to have them, so then it's like, what do you do with them?
right? Yeah, I mean, ultimately, if they catch them all, they're going to put them down, but or transport them to their indigenous,
Maybe a sanctuary or something.
yeah, wherever they're actually supposed to be. At least several dozen sheep that may have carried MMK's offspring, and each have those of those may have several lambs. The same document also alleges that one of MMK's offspring was transported from Minnesota to Schuberth's ranch in Montana in May of 2019. Then in July of 2020, Schuberth agreed to sell 11 of MMK's grandchildren for a total of $13,200, and one of MMK's children, a sheep called Montana Black Magic, for $10,000 alone, which apparently exemplifies, that's kind of how it works when they exemplify the traits of the
Right,
progenitors.
but now they're down to two generations already because they talked about grandchildren.
Yep, at least one sheep is accounted for. MMK himself, the sheep had initially been taken to a Zoological Association of America accredited facility in Oregon, says Christina Meister of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. MMK was flown across the country to Rosalind Gifford Zoo in Syracuse, New York, where he will be housed for the long term. MMK is expected to be on exhibition at the zoo in mid-November, so right about now. Anyway, 4 men who have been indicted in the interlinked cases all signed plea agreements that require them to quarantine any sheep in their possession containing Marco Polo Argali genetics. The plea agreements also require the men to abandon all property rights in the sheep and allow the USFWS to neuter the animals. Yikes. The men have to submit autopsy reports for any of the sheep die. So, wow.
Well, this is even worse because then it affects the ones that have been bred with the clone sheep. I mean, this could be hundreds, thousands over time.
Yeah, if they don't nip it in the bud. So this article goes on to much greater detail. They say that the president at the pet cloning company via Gen Pets says his company requires its clients to sign a document stating that they have legal rights to clone from the tissue they're providing. If it's something of a sensitive origin, then we would investigate, and we may have friends in regulatory roles. They can investigate anything suspicious. That's interesting. And we have many friends in regulatory roles.
Exactly.
Kind of bullshit is
That's a
that?
nice way of saying, hey, we're calling up the fill in the blank letters at whatever time we choose.
Yeah, but is everything on the up and up? Or is it like, hey, don't tell anyone, but we have MMK sheep here. Can we find out a little bit of
No, I
information?
think it's more like don't bother us if you're trying to do something illegal. But I don't know, it's very weird.
Right? I mean, this is a hop, skip, and jump from cover your ass
Bad
to
bat.
we can circumvent it because we know if anybody knows about this. You know? Wow. Anyway, in the meantime, there's still a matter of those hybrid sheep. A fourth man implicated in a Schubarth case was sentenced to 3 years probation and $25,000 in fines. He also signed a plea agreement. He's alleged to have bought 12 hybrid Marco Polo Argali sheep from Schubarth. Well, where are they? Yeah, interesting.
Exactly. Well, some of them are just running amok.
Amok, amok, amok. Let's move on. The next article is over in WarCrafters. Ubisoft is being sued for shutting down the crew. Finally, again, stop killing games. I really think that the same thing should be applied to, well, what do you think? Should we talk about it?
Oh, it should definitely be applied to Ticket to Ride.
Yep. So, two Californian gamers, and I should probably contact them, are suing Ubisoft in a proposed class action lawsuit over the developer and publisher recent shutting down of racing game The Crew. And the thing about it is, it's not shut down entirely. Just a large
Just enough to
segment
be annoying and costly.
and limiting in the fact that I actually purchased a game with X, Y, and Z. Well,
Right, they've changed the terms after the fact.
Ubisoft released the game in December of 2014. 10 years later, they shut it down. They shut down its servers after a decade due to server infrastructure and licensing constraints. After the servers shut down, the game, again, the consumer shouldn't have to be bound by your third-party agreements. I'm sorry, we buy under a certain set of rules, and you can change your rules anytime you damn well please, but we can't because we buy based on the rules.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the consumer has no bargaining power.
After the server shut down, except for litigation, except for going class action. So that's, I guess, a class action is basically the consumer version of a union. So after the server shut down, the game became totally unplayable due to the lack of a single player offline mode. When the shutdown was announced on December 2023, Ubisoft did offer refunds to people who recently purchased The Crew, but given the age of the game, a lot of the players were unable to participate. And I actually heard people say, you got enough playtime out of the game. No, kiss my ass. What, I should be able to
sign up for a game that was going to be ending because you're investing time and money.
Yeah, so you've been in your house for 15 years. That's plenty of time to enjoy the fun of the walls. So now I'm kicking your ass out.
I'm not ready to go.
No, sorry. We're tired of having to manage that mortgage. We're going to take it over and we're going to remove you. No, kiss my ass. Nicole Carpenter over at Polygon.com put the article together. The issue is, once again, about the difference between buying and licensing games. Yeah, you have a license to consume it, but I have a license to consume it in the form in which I compensated you for that. So now give me back all of the money that I could have spent that $40 on, right? The games or whatever. It's not just $40. If I didn't spend it on that game, then I've got $40 plus all of the joy I could have gotten from a game that didn't get killed 10 years later.
Right. I like that they give an analogy here. I mean, I think anybody gaming understands what's happening, but this is for the non-gamers.
Right. So it's the one that says, imagine you buy a pinball, right? So the quote here, oh, by the way, let me back up again just to make sure that I say this. Nicole Carpenter over at Polygon.com put this article together. And the quote that's in here is, imagine you buy a pinball machine and years later you enter your den to go play it only to discover that all the paddles are missing, the pinball and bumpers are gone, and the monitor that proudly displayed your unassailable high score is removed. Lawyers wrote in the lawsuit, which was filed November 4th in a California court and reviewed by Polygon. Quote, turns out the pinball manufacturer decided to come into your home, gut the insides of the pinball machine, and remove your ability to play the game that you bought and thought you owned. Now, again, I'm going to draw attention to another podcast slash show on YouTube and Twitch where they talk about this in a sort of way where they go, well, you want to enjoy this game in perpetuity, but you don't want to pay for it in perpetuity. You want all of the updates and you want fun content, blah, 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 blah. But no, that's not the name of the game here. They should be required to create a secure solution. So patches and stability and all of that kind of stuff. I shouldn't have to pay for that. I already paid for that. The implication is that I pay for a stable game. Do I want add-on stuff? Yeah, sure. But make it DLC. But give me a whole, complete game, working game, one that I can play in perpetuity if I so freaking choose, because I paid $40 to $60, $100 nowadays for a game. And finally, you cannot go in and take back once which I bought. even if it was at some later date, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you can't show up and go, hey, I want that CD back. Right? Well, that's exactly what
No,
they
but
did.
you can do whatever you want with digital projects.
Correct. Yep. So the lawsuit alleges this is exactly what happened when Ubisoft shut down its servers for The Crew in 2024, suddenly leaving consumers unable to access something that they purchased and assumed they owned. We assume it because the licensing terms are miles long in legalese that don't really stipulate that you don't really own anything, because why would you? You literally purchased something. Now they have to change the terminology, but you're going to be moving a glacier of conceptual understanding. When you purchase something, when you license it, you don't license it for the terms unforeseeable. It's no longer a contract. There is no contract that is open-ended in perpetuity until whoever it is decides that it's no longer fiscally responsible for them to babysit a server. A contract is fixed in time, and then you assail it once more when you reach the horizon of that contract. 5 years, 10 years, whatever. It isn't just, hey, there's a line in this contract that says at some point we're just going to punch you and there's no repercussions. We can punch you in the neck and there are no repercussions. This is just frustrating for anybody who has been around the block longer than 10 years. So both plaintiffs purchased the game well into its lifespan in 2018 and 2020 respectively on physical discs. So they have for sale doctrine. They could have sold it to somebody else. The lawsuit says neither would have purchased the game on the same terms, i.e. price, knowing the game servers could be taken down, rendering The Crew totally unplayable in an offline mode. And the lawsuit also covers the backlash of Ubisoft's decision to shut down the servers and not include an offline version of the game. It cites several games that turned servers off but patched in an offline option, like Knockout City, and 2 of Ubisoft's own games, Assassin's Creed 2 and Assassin's Creed 3. By the way, there are more games being turned off. We talked about it this weekend.
Yeah, there's quite a few, but I think this is interesting because Ubisoft figured out a
Knows.
way to do an offline version, so that's actually going to work against them here.
Yeah. Well, they're saying, well, licensing. Well, it's not our fault that your licensing terms sucked. So do it right. Get good. So Stop Killing Games movement is petitioning the European Union to force game companies to keep games in playable states. It currently has more than 379,000 signatures. But the European Union has already said you can't force a company to run a game in perpetuity. Well, no. You can force them to, if they offer up a multiplayer online environment, that they provide the servers at the end of life that they deem end of life. That everybody should be a proponent of that. Oh, you don't like running the servers? Well, then give it to everybody so they can run the servers.
Exactly. Yeah, how is the company being harmed if they're not going to continue to sell it or update it or anything?
That's right. They're not. So I'm already on board with Stop Killing Games. I would love Ticket to Ride to get sued because they created an alternative version of the original one after it being hobbled, and it sucks ass. And the original, you could just release the server and somebody else could run it in perpetuity. But again, it's the licensing thing, they said. And the new version sucks. It's horrible. And I already
And it
paid.
doesn't cover all the things that people would have purchased with the original.
It doesn't cover any of the things that they purchased. I didn't get a refund and I didn't get compensated for it in any way. I didn't get the new version for free. I didn't get any add-ons for free. And nobody likes the new version. It literally sucks. But they garnered the benefit of it. Right? They made enough money. They kept on developing.
Right. Yeah, they're not seeing any downside.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'll talk to these people and see if this law firm wants to do another one. Why not? Anyway, let's move on. This next article is over on the Mobile Channel, the 24-hour gopher experiment that brought life back to Mount St. Helens. Scientists released gophers onto a plot of land 2 years after the eruption obliterated the landscape, and the results were magical.
I mean, how many times do you have magical gophers?
That's funny. I think I have like a big pile of ash from Mount St. Helens, and I made a Dorodango last weekend, and I keep thinking maybe I can make a Dorodango out of Mount St. Helens ash.
You could.
Now I got to find it though. Huh. Anyway, so gophers. I got to go for a walk and find that ash. Anyway, the article is over at gizmodo.com. Margarita Bossi put the article together. Scientists released gophers into a plot of land 2 years ago after the eruption obliterated the landscape, and the results are magical. Aw, look at that little gopher. On May 18th, 1980, Washington's Mount St. Helens covered 22,000 square miles with 540 million tons of ash. A few years later, scientists unleashed gophers into the part of the lifeless mountainside for 24 hours, hypothesizing that the animals' digging habits might dredge up some beneficial microorganisms and give the ecosystem a regenerative boost. And they were right. Now, researchers following in their footsteps 44 years later are highlighting just how enduring innovative ecosystem rescuing methods can be. So they left them there for
24 hours.
And 44 years later, the impact of their actions, did they come back and get them?
I think they did. They must have had them like geotagged or something, even though at that time, I don't know how they would have.
They put like an Apple beacon.
I mean, how are they collecting the monkeys?
Oh, yeah. How many of those monkeys did they catch?
I think they have 25 of the 43.
Yeah, the rest of them are plotting to overthrow the planet of the apes, planet of the macaques. 1983, the areas around Mount St. Helens that the scientists had chosen for their gopher experiment were heaps of collapsing slabs of porous pumice. Man, is there a Willy Wonka kind of thing going on there? Collapsing slabs of porous pumice.
And that's a quotation. I
Yeah, that
mean,
is a quote. According to the statement, with just about a dozen plants and some struggling seedlings staging a weak comeback 6 years after the brief gopher intervention, however, 2 plots of land hosted 40,000 thriving plants in stark contrast. There's the contract that Ubisoft is missing.
that's right.
The surrounding region was still mostly barren. In just 24 hours, the gophers work seemed to be like magic, but the real secret, microorganisms. They basically churned the soil up in 24 hours.
That's really interesting. I wonder if they've ever used that in any other disasters.
I'm assuming, I don't know what all is in this article. I just see G's, but I'm using Vivendi, so I don't know if it's playing a role in the display. But anyway, the study also identified other helpful microorganism carriers. Pine, spruce, Douglas firs from the old growth forest on Mount St. Helens were covered in volcanic ash after the eruption, but were able to quickly grow back because of, you guessed it, helpful fungal friends. So
Fungus is a friend, not food.
but fungus is food as well. Not
I know,
everybody
I
likes
was
it.
playing off of the Finding Nemo thing.
Yeah. Finding fungi. Finding fungi with friends. It's a new app on the App Store. Anyway, this stood in stark contrast to other areas in the vicinity, which loggers had cleared of trees before the eruption. Without trees to drop needles or gophers to bring back crucial microorganisms, the area is still virtually barren over 40 years later. So there you go. We need trees and we need gophers.
Gophers. Let's bring some more gophers back in.
Or we need robots that can dig And that's just one more element of the Matrix. Because they had robots that could go through tunnels and dig and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. This next article is over on Technology Today. New study identifies never words, not never words, never words that doctors should always avoid using. Like, sometimes our warranty is up.
I think that should be in here, but I don't think it is.
These never words can be harmful when spoken by clinicians. How about, I'm sorry, you have 48 hours to live, and I should have told you 36 hours ago.
Yeah, that could do it. I don't think you have a banner for this article, by the way.
Is it overshare or spoiler alert would work?
I think it's like trigger alert.
Oh, trigger alert? I'll have to come up with some more banners. That'll even help in our production value. Seriously ill patients and their families experience intense emotional suffering, and researchers, including a professor from Texas A&M University, emphasize that clinicians must use compassionate communication as part of their treatment process. Like, don't come out and just go, oops.
You're done.
Yeah.
Oh, right, that too. So yeah, verbally, this might trigger somebody if they've been through serious medical stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So, like, you don't want to come out and go, if you're a doctor, you don't want to come out and go, look, we tried everything, but your husband was a real asshole. So we stopped. We stopped trying.
I don't think that's going to be in here.
Oh, look, her hand is even up. I know you're upset, but no, just no. Leslie Hinton, Texas A&M University, put the article together. It's posted at scitechdaily.com. These never words can be harmful when spoken by clinicians to patients and families facing serious illness. Do they actually have a rundown of them?
They do. I looked ahead a little bit at this.
Okay, so these things are, there is nothing else we can do. She will not get better. Withdrawing care. Circling the drain.
I can't even believe that's even stated or made it on the list.
If a clinician were to say that to me, I would punch them in the taint.
Yeah, that one might be like lawsuit or something.
Do you want us to do everything? Look, there's no bargaining power, of course. Dumbass.
No, we want you to give 10% of your skills toward this procedure.
We do this all the time as humans. Everything is a fight or a battle, waging a war or whatever. I mean, we're so...
And no patience like that terminology.
Well, even the patients use this. I'm really fighting, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. I don't know why you waited so long to come in. Oh, you're victim blaming. Don't be...
Wow.
Yeah. What were your other doctors thinking? Yeah. Oh, let's not worry about that now. You are lucky it's only stage 2. I guess they're trying to find the silver lining, but okay. And it says you failed chemo. No. God.
Right. First of all, if the chemo didn't work, you don't need to make it sound like the person did something wrong or
Right. Wow. So let's not worry about that now. It's not only a non-answer to a patient's legitimate concern, it's dismissive, the researcher said. Pointing out that cancer is an early stage is presumptive, assuming the patient should feel gratitude without allowing room for the patient's anxiety and fear in having cancer. And Barry said patients do not fail chemo. Chemo fails patients. Yeah. Or don't even mention it. Don't say that they're...
Right, we're going to try this next or something.
Yeah. I don't know. What would the less than ideal outcome or something like that? I mean,
wow, that's pretty severe under those circumstances. But yeah, like the chemo wasn't as successful as we wanted. We're going to
try
move to
this.
this or whatever.
Yeah.
We're going to get you in a trial or something.
There you go. So as for the never words, the researchers recommend alternative language as well as the rationale for each. For example, instead of "she will not get better," which I swear to God, man, if I were to ever hear that,
don't say it, doctor. Thank you very much.
Yeah. You know, if I ever end up in the hospital, I'm going to have this list, this article, and just like set this down. Like, well,
These are my never words.
here are my never words. As in, I should never hear any of this from you in the form of words. Otherwise, look at the fine print at the bottom of this, and I will have written in really small print. If you say any of this, I will punch you in the taint. Anyway, spreading awareness. Yeah, I mean, the rise of sociopathy is legit, at least in my observation. And so I think that some doctors tend to have very little patience with their patients because they've seen everybody to the point where, I mean, I was told by one doctor that they basically see their patients as nothing more than bodies because they can't care about them. Otherwise, they make emotional.
Right, yeah. I mean, they need to apply logic but there is still a human element toward medicine, I think.
Yeah, you can lean into the human element, even if you are going to be mechanical in your processes. You still got to treat the human that doesn't care about your mechanical processes. So it says mentorships are also invaluable for more experienced doctors can share communication techniques that they found to be successful and which to avoid. Let me tell on all you doctors out there, patients who interact with a doctor and then interact with another doctor, and each of those doctors have their specialty, and for whatever freaking reason, each one of those specialties are the cause du jour of your malady, really piss off patients. Okay. I ended up talking to two different doctors about something. And in one doctor, they were like, it's this. And in the other doctor, because they were a nutritionist, they focused on nutrition. No, not everybody is a nail, and you are not the hammer. Every time I see somebody, you go to a sports therapist and they want you to run. You go see a sports surgeon and they want to cut your leg open. I mean, it's just so crazy. Everything is that specialty. Anyway, let's move on. We have two more articles. This next one is over in Non Sequitur News. Amazon targets smart glasses that could guide delivery drivers to where to drop off packages, according to a report.
This isn't confusing at all, given that one of its main competitors is Target.
Right. And that actually, I think, but it's a clunky title. But hey, it's Business Insider. They always have really long titles. Amazon is reportedly developing smart glasses that its delivery workers could use. The glasses could provide navigation and take pictures of packages upon delivery. Reuters reported Amazon is said to face challenges such as battery life and location data as it creates the glasses. Why not just outfit the vehicles with smart equipment?
Yeah, couldn't they have like a dashboard or something?
And it's pretty easy for them to just use their phone and send the damn message.
Plus, then different drivers could be in the vehicle. It
Yeah.
wouldn't have to be tied to that particular driver.
Now they're going to have to take their glasses off and charge them while they're driving and put them back on because it's only going to last. The best smart glasses that's interconnected and not just self-contained is probably those zero glasses that do-it-yourselfer made, and it runs like 4 hours, but it's
Those aren't
isolated.
ready for driving.
Yeah, they're not ready for anything yet. Anyway, Amazon's next attempt to speed up package delivery may involve smart glasses. The article is over at, oh my gosh.
At Firewall.
I didn't log in. So I have an account, but I didn't log in. And I can't go past it.
Talk about it briefly.
Yeah. Sorry, folks. When you go there, you won't run across this. But I don't log in while I'm doing the show. Damn it. Hold on. Maybe it'll go away. Nope. It's like faster than ever. Anyway, smart glasses as they were. So let's just go on. Next article is over on the Mobile channel. 2 snail species named after Tolkien characters. Plus, it saves us some time because we're almost at an hour anyway.
There we go.
So researchers
it was planned.
Yeah, all along.
Agatha.
So researchers have named 2 newly discovered freshwater snail species from Brazil after characters from Lord of the Rings. The article is over at phys.org. Pensoft Publishers put the article together, described in an article published in the open access journal Zoosystematics and Evolution. Idiopyrgus iowane and Idiopyrgus mariadochi were named in honor of Eowyn and Meriadoc Brandybuck from J.R.R. Tolkien's iconic series. In their research paper, the authors explain that the name Idiopyrgus eowene, stating Eowyn exemplifies courage, resilience, and resistance against darkness, both internal and external, standing against Grima Wormtongue and the Witch King of Angmar. Yeah, you have to go and watch it. And read it, but watching it, yeah.
Right.
Never.
I mean, I don't know if it's in the actual movies.
It is. So regarding Idiopyrgus, Mariadochi, I guess is how it would probably be pronounced. They write, besides standing with Eowyn against the Witch King in the Battle of Pelennor Fields, Mary is also an example of the fight for nature conservation in Middle-earth, pushing the Ents into action and ultimately ending Saruman's threat to Fangorn Forest. I'm just stumbling all over my words. Anyway, pretty cool. These are the little beasties. Both snails have unique periostracal hairs, thorn-like structures on their shells, a feature uncommon among Brazilian freshwater snails. Their cave-specific adaptations include reduced pigmentation, fragile shells, and a small size. So pretty cool. Dun, dun, dun.
Interesting. Their color makes them look like they glow in the dark.
And they might actually fluoresce when you shine like UV light on them. But I guess, because it's iridescent here, like you can almost see all the way through them. Like I think that right there is like the background. That's the black that you see behind it.
Oh, I see. Right. Yeah, they're translucent, I guess.
Yep. Pretty cool. So go watch Lord of the Rings. And then
cheer when those characters come on.
There you go. And you can go, oh, I didn't know snails looked like a hobbit. Or an elf. All right. All right, let's keep going. We are done for today. Right? Dun 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 dun. Oh no, Eowyn is the Rohan noblewoman. She's
okay.
A battle maiden. I was like, wait a minute, she's not an elf. Anyway, that's it. We are done. So we are gonna crawl back into our little nerd cave, and we'll be back at the front page of ohmtown.com. I lost a little bit of nerd cred there because I miscast the Eowyn. Anyway, I'll owe up to it. I'm a dumbass. Well, that's it. I am MayorWatt saying see you later. And along with the sentient AI, we're going to be back tomorrow. So why don't you say bye?
Good night, Ohmtown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News. Be back tomorrow.
Did I put all of today's? I think I did. Okay. Well, we're done. We'll see you later. Bye. And that took a long time.